Imagine this. You're lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment you had with her. The laughter, the way she once looked at you like you were her world, and now, the silence. That silence feels louder than any argument you've ever had. You check your phone, half hoping, half dreading to see her name light up your screen. But nothing. And deep down, you can't stop asking yourself, where did I lose her? Did she stop caring? Or did I somehow stop being the man she was drawn to in the first place? That uneasy, sinking feeling in your chest right now, it's not just heartbreak. It's the weight of realizing that begging, chasing, pleading for her attention will only push her further away. And yet, it's the very thing most men do when they feel her slipping. But what if I told you? There's another way. A way to reignite her curiosity, her attraction, her respect, without lowering yourself, without being desperate, without losing your dignity. See, women are not drawn back by words. They're not drawn back by promises. They're pulled back by something far deeper, by energy, by presence, by the version of you she first noticed when her heart skipped a beat. Right now, you feel powerless, but the truth is, you have more control than you think. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Women don't lose interest overnight. It fades slowly, in small cracks, in the moments where you stopped being the man who led with strength, certainty, and purpose. But here's the good news. It can be rebuilt. Her interest isn't gone forever. It's dormant, waiting to be awakened by the man who remembers who he truly is. What you're about to hear is not manipulation. It's not a trick. It's a reset. A roadmap to shift the dynamic without games, without begging, without sacrificing your pride. And I'll be brutally honest with you. If you cling, you'll lose her. If you chase, she'll run. But if you step into these 6 steps with discipline, she'll feel something she hasn't felt in a long time. Curiosity. That spark of wondering, did I misjudge him? Did I underestimate him? Is he becoming the man I always wanted him to be? That question in her mind is your doorway back into her heart. The first step is silence. Not coldness, not punishment, but space. Right now, every urge inside you wants to text her, call her, remind her how much you care. But that's not love speaking. It's fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of being replaced. Fear of facing yourself without her presence. And fear is repellent to women. It tells her, without words, that you've placed her above yourself, that her attention is your oxygen, and nothing suffocates attraction faster than a man who cannot breathe on his own. Understand this. Silence does not mean disappearing. It means reclaiming your center. It means allowing her to feel the absence of your energy, the very presence she once took for granted. Men think that chasing proves devotion, but to a woman, it signals weakness. When you stop chasing, when you stop begging, when you remove your desperate need for validation, something shifts in her subconscious. She starts to notice the gap. She starts to wonder why you're not reaching out. That small seed of curiosity, that's power. But here's the trap most men fall into. They confuse silence with waiting by the phone, hoping she notices. That's not strength. That's still attachment. True silence is active. It's using the time to rebuild your body, your focus, your discipline. It's showing yourself that you can exist, grow, and even thrive without her constant approval. And paradoxically, this is when she starts to feel something she hasn't felt in a long time: respect. Because respect is the foundation of attraction. Without it, love cannot breathe. And a woman cannot respect a man who needs her more than he needs his own self-respect. Think of it like this. A flame dies when it's smothered. The same flame burns brighter when it has space to breathe. Your silence, when rooted in strength, gives her the oxygen to remember your value. Do not announce it. Do not tell her, "I'm giving you space." That ruins the effect. Simply step back. Stop explaining. Stop over-communicating. Stop feeding the dynamic where she knows you'll always be the first to reach out. Let her feel what it's like when you're not orbiting her. Let her remember that you are a man who moves with or without her. That realization, as simple as it sounds, is the spark that begins to shift everything in your favor. The second step is to reframe your identity, not in her eyes yet, but in your own. Because here's the truth, women sense a man's self-image long before he ever opens his mouth. If you see yourself as broken, abandoned, or unworthy, that energy leaks into every word, every action, every glance. She doesn't just hear what you say, she feels who you believe you are. That's why clinging pushes her away. She senses that you're operating from lack, and no woman is drawn to lack. So what does reframing your identity mean? It means remembering that you were someone before her. A man with his own dreams, his own fire, his own gravity. Somewhere along the way, you made her the center of your world. It felt romantic at first, but slowly, it killed the polarity. Because women are not attracted to men who orbit them. They are attracted to men who stand so firmly in their own purpose that she chooses to orbit him. Now, this is not about arrogance. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about rediscovering the strength you forgot you had. Ask yourself, when was the last time you pursued your passions with the same intensity you pursued her? When was the last time you walked into a room and owned it? Not because of who was watching, but because you knew you belonged there. That energy is magnetic. That's the man she first noticed. And that's the man she secretly wonders if you can become again. Here's the painful truth. When she loses interest, it's rarely because of another man. It's because you lost connection with yourself. And the moment you rebuild that connection, something shifts. She starts to see you differently. She notices the way you move, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. And it doesn't align with the man she thought she had figured out. That contrast plants doubt in her assumptions. Doubt that maybe she was wrong to let her attention drift. But none of this works if it's a performance. You cannot fake self-respect. You cannot fake purpose. You must step into it fully. Because when you do, her subconscious picks up on it. And for the first time in a long time, she'll look at you and think, what changed? Who is he becoming? That question is the beginning of regained interest. The third step is controlled presence. The art of being around her without pressing for validation. Most men fail here because they try to rush the process. They mistake proximity for attraction. They think if they can just get more time with her, she'll feel what she once felt. But attraction doesn't return because you're available. It returns because you become unpredictable, magnetic, and disciplined in how you show up. Controlled presence means you interact with her in doses, not floods. You keep conversations light, calm, and confident. You don't bring up the past, you don't beg for explanations, and you don't try to corner her into emotional talks. Instead, you give her an experience of you that feels new. A man who listens without needing, who smiles without seeking approval, who can walk away from the moment without hesitation. That energy unsettles her, because she's used to you clinging. And here's the psychological switch. Women are not drawn to what they fully understand. They are drawn to mystery, to questions they can't answer. If she thinks she knows exactly how you'll act, she loses interest. But if she sees you and senses something different, something calm, centered, and untouchable, it sparks her curiosity again. Curiosity is the seed of attraction. Think of it like this. If you flood a plant with water, it drowns. But if you give it the right amount, consistently, it grows. Your controlled presence is the same. You're not disappearing completely, but you're not suffocating her either. You appear, you bring good energy, you leave. No neediness, no agenda. Just a reminder that you are evolving into the man she cannot ignore. And remember, your tone matters more than your words. A man can say, "How have you been?" in a desperate tone that reeks of need. Or he can say it calmly, with steady eye contact, and suddenly she feels like he's not chasing her. He's just living. and she happens to be part of his path for that moment. That's controlled presence. The key is this: let her wonder about you when you're not there. Let her imagination fill the blanks. Because what a woman imagines will always be more powerful than what you try to force her to see. Your job is not to convince her. It's to create a presence that makes her convince herself. The fourth step is self-investment, the transformation that happens when you stop pouring all your energy into her and begin pouring it back into yourself. Listen carefully. Attraction is not rebuilt through words, but through demonstration. A woman doesn't fall for what you tell her you'll become. She falls for the man who actually becomes it. And this is where most men fail. They wait for her to return before they upgrade their life. But the men who reignite a woman's interest are the ones who evolve whether she comes back or not. Self-investment has layers. It starts with your physical presence. Your body tells a story long before you speak. When she sees you healthier, stronger, more disciplined, she notices. Even if she doesn't say it, she feels it. She remembers the version of you she was first attracted to, a man who carried himself with pride. That physical shift signals a deeper one. Then there's your mind. Too many men stagnate, caught in routines, repeating the same conversations, living the same days on repeat. But when you expand your knowledge, explore new interests, challenge yourself in ways she hasn't seen before, you disrupt her perception of you. Suddenly she doesn't have you figured out. Suddenly, you've become someone new, someone intriguing. And finally, there's your purpose. Women are deeply drawn to men who live for something beyond the relationship. If she feels like she is your only source of meaning, the weight of that crushes her desire. But when she sees you driven, building, creating, pursuing with focus, something reignites. She realizes she is not the center of your universe, but a witness to a man who is moving forward no matter what. That shift breeds respect, and respect breathes life back into attraction. The beauty of self-investment is that it works whether she comes back or not. Because this step is not really about her, it's about you. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that was buried under comfort, routine, and dependency. And here's the paradox. When you no longer need her to feel complete, that's when she feels the pull to come closer. When you stop chasing her approval, she starts chasing your presence. Never forget this truth. The greatest way to remind a woman of your value is to embody it so fully that she cannot deny it when she sees you again. The fifth step is controlled re-engagement, the moment where you shift from silence and distance into subtle connection. But this is where many men destroy all their progress. They either rush back in, over-explaining how much they've changed, or they make the mistake of trying to prove their worth through words. Understand this. If you have to tell her you've grown, you haven't grown enough. Real change doesn't need to be announced. It radiates. Controlled re-engagement is about offering her glimpses, not confessions. Maybe she sees you at a mutual event. Maybe she notices your energy online. Maybe she hears about your new direction through friends. The key is this. You're not presenting yourself to her. You're allowing her to notice you from a distance. That noticing plants the seed of intrigue. She begins to wonder, why does he seem different? Why isn't he reaching out like before? Why does it feel like he's slipping from my grasp? Those questions work in your favor. And when direct interaction happens, your role is simple. Be calm, be warm, but never needy. Keep the conversation light, confident, and short. Leave her wanting more, not less. A man who lingers, explaining himself, trying to repair the past in one conversation, suffocates her. A man who gives her a taste and then walks away with composure leaves her unsettled, in the best possible way. Because here's the truth. Attraction thrives on tension. Not conflict, but tension. The sense that something is unresolved, something is pulling her towards you that she can't fully explain. Controlled re-engagement builds that tension, by giving her just enough energy to spark her imagination, then stepping back before she feels secure again. It's the emotional version of scarcity, and it's powerful. But remember, this isn't about manipulation. You're not trying to trick her emotions. You're simply demonstrating, through your actions, that you are no longer the man who begged, chased, and clung. You are grounded. You are steady. You are moving forward. And when she senses that stability, her natural response is curiosity mixed with attraction. The more you can resist the urge to over-explain, the more powerful this step becomes. Because the less you give, the more she fills in the blanks. And what she imagines about you in silence will always be stronger than anything you could try to say aloud. The sixth and final step is emotional leadership, the ability to guide the connection without being controlled by it. Most men believe that if they can just convince a woman how much they love her, she'll return. But women are not led by words, they are led by how they feel around you. And if she feels that you're desperate, reactive, or living only for her approval, she will pull away no matter what you say. Emotional leadership is about embodying calm certainty, even in uncertainty. It's about showing her, not telling her, that you can handle life with or without her. This doesn't mean you ignore her or act cold. It means when emotions rise, you stay steady. When she tests you, you don't fold. When she withdraws, you don't panic. You remain grounded. Why? Because the deepest desire a woman has in a man is security, not just financial, but emotional. She wants to feel that when storms come, you won't collapse. And when she feels that energy radiating from you again, it reignites the very thing she lost: trust. And trust fuels attraction. It reminds her of why she chose you in the first place. Not because you begged, not because you promised, but because when she was with you, she felt something she couldn't explain, safe, yet excited. That balance of stability and unpredictability is what makes a man unforgettable. The truth is, regaining her interest isn't about tricks. It isn't about outsmarting her. It's about stepping so fully into your power, your purpose, and your presence that she can't help but see you differently. Silence, identity, controlled presence, self-investment, subtle re-engagement, and emotional leadership. These are not steps to manipulate her. They are steps to rebuild you. And when you rebuild you, everything around you begins to shift, including her interest. Now I want you to ask yourself a hard question. Are you willing to become the man who doesn't just want her back, but the man who is worth being back with? Sit with that. Let it cut deep. Because if your answer is yes, then everything I've told you is no longer theory. It becomes your path. Before you go, answer this in the comments. Which of these 6 steps do you need to start practicing today? I want to know. And if this video spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this right now.